Voodoo Institute. I am your reader for today, Priestess Karede. If you are interested in booking a personal reading with me, then please click the link in the description box, as well as subscribe to my YouTube channel, The Obelisk Lounge. Today, I'm going to be doing a reading on the legendary Miss Rosa Parks. And so if you guys do not know who Rosa Parks is, shame on you, okay? But if you do, then please go ahead and thumbs up this video and let's get into the reading. So the first thing I want to look at is I want to see what was her personality like. So Egungun and ancestors who vibrate only on the highest levels of love and compassion. What was Miss Rosa Parks' personality like? Shuffling these personality cards. Okay. What was her personality like? Let's get one last good shuffle in. All right. Oh, the card for the thief. Alchemist. The King, okay. Seeker. Advocate. And let's do one more. Why not? The prostitute. Oh, wow. Okay. So, so the card for the thief came out to describe her personality. The light attribute of this card talks about shedding light on the potential wealth within you that can never be stolen. And so even though, I mean, thieves have a negative connotation, I'm reading this card coming out, especially looking at the light attribute of the card. She was tired of, you know, things being stolen for her, you know, stolen from her, excuse me, with the thief card. And like, she was willing to like take it back. I honestly feel like that this thief card isn't necessarily calling her a thief. It's talking about her, you know, fighting for liberation, fighting, you know, for the freedom, like taking something back that's rightfully hers, like our natural born rights, you know, that we learned in what, elementary school or whatever. And like her rightfully taking those things back by any means necessary. That is what this thief card is describing her personality like, you know. We also have the card for the alchemist that came out, which the light attribute talks about transformations of basic motives and goals into golden wisdom. I mean, which we can totally see with the card for the alchemist. So like her being like a magician almost, you know, transforming, you know, the negatives, you know, into positives. I feel like the alchemist card is also talking about her having a very creative nature about herself. I do know that she was a seamstress, and so I mean, like, that's an art form in itself, you know, sewing, having the ability to just, you know, transform basically anything. So transform, you know, pieces of fabric, you know, into beautiful gowns, you know, and things like that, or maybe even placement mats and stuff like that, you know. But of course, the alchemist is also talking about her ability to divinely transform our community, or better yet, divinely transform her life and the lives of others, the lives of all of our community ancestors during that time for the better, you know. But of course, the shadow attribute of this card talks about the misuse of the power and knowledge that can come through spiritual practice, you know. So maybe she maybe she did, you know, misuse her power at times as well. So I'll see what this is talking about when we actually get to the playing cards. The other archetype that came out for her was the king, which talks about being enlightened, benevolent leadership, benefiting those, you know, in your charge. And so people revered her as, I mean, even though this is the king card, I mean, we can even go as far as to say like a queen, since, you know, she was, you know, this divinely feminine communal ancestor, you know. And then, of course, the shadow attributes of this card talks about excessive feelings of entitlement, rulership without restraint. So maybe, you know, especially with the card for the alchemist, and even, you know, with the shadow attribute of the alchemist and the king coming out. So it's looking like she could have probably had like, you know, like power trips about herself, you know, or just power trips just in general, even if it wasn't in regards to, you know, the Montgomery bus boycott, but just a power tripper, like just in general, you know, maybe probably looked at herself as like a god, you know, or not like a god, but just somebody that, like a Capricorn. You know how Capricorns, and I don't know when Miss Park's birthday is. I can't remember when her birthday is. But kind of like a Capricorn, like how everything that they do is with excellence. I feel like with this King and the Alchemist card coming out, this is talking about just, you know, excellence. This is, yeah, her person, like if it wasn't excellent, then it wasn't nothing. You know what I'm saying? I feel like that's what her personality, that's how it's coming off to me from these cards. And then we have the Seeker. The light attribute talks about a thirst for wisdom and truth wherever they are. So once again, that Capricorn Saturn energy, you know, excellence, you know, just, you know, searching for wisdom, just like the card says, searching for wisdom and truth. So she was somebody that was a researcher, somebody that, you know, probably like loved to read a lot growing up. Probably just didn't, like, you couldn't tell her just anything. Like, you can tell her something, but then she's gonna go research exactly like what you told her. Like, that was just kind of like a great student, you know what I'm saying? Not even a really great student, but, well, no, yeah, I would say a great student, because great students are researchers. Like, they do listen, but they always, you know, ask questions, and they question things as well. So that's the energy that I'm getting from that. And then we also have the card for the Advocate. I mean, which obviously, you know, she led the Montgomery bus boycott, and so we already know what the Advocate is talking about. But let me just go ahead and say, I feel like with this card coming out, the energy that she put towards the Montgomery bus boycott, that wasn't like her first time advocating. Like, I feel like the Advocate, like, that's just something that's just always been a part of her, especially since it came out for her personality card. And then lastly, we have the card for the Prostitute. I mean, with the card for the Thief and then even the Prostitute coming out together, I do see that these cards, I feel like this Prostitute card is really just talking about her being a martyr, like her being able to like risk it all. You know, like her risking it all, but for a greater benefit, because the light attribute of this card does say accentuates the challenge of surviving without negotiating the power of your spirit. And that is, I mean, that was most certainly, I feel like, to an extent, depending on how you view the situation, that was Miss Parks, you know, like that's just what, I mean, that's what she was about. Like, we don't even need really a full reading to even tell us those things. But of course, with the shadow attribute, it talks about placing material considerations and security above self-empowerment. With the way that the rest of the cards fill out, I don't see that shadow attribute is something that would describe her. However, just like I mentioned earlier with the King, and even now this Prostitute card coming out, this is just probably talking about like an overall abuse of power, like her sometimes like not, just like I said earlier about her wanting excellent, like if it's not excellent, then she doesn't want it at all, you know. That is kind of like maybe even a hint of narcissism. I know that's like a buzzword, or that's been a buzzword for the past few years, but I can kind of get like narcissistic vibes from this reading as well at times. And I feel like that would just probably be in relation to the role that she played in the civil rights movement. So let's go ahead and get into her reading. I want to know what her life was like growing up in Tuskegee, Alabama. So, Egungun and ancestors who vibrate only on the highest levels of love and compassion. What was Miss Rosa Parks' life like growing up in Tuskegee, Alabama? If you guys are already enjoying this video, then go ahead. I mean, I'm sorry. If you guys are already enjoying the reading, goodness, Priestess, go ahead and click the thumbs up button and subscribe to the channel. What was her life like growing up in Tuskegee, Alabama? Jack of Spades. She used to write a lot. Queen of Hearts, Two of Diamonds. The Jack of Spades, the Queen of Hearts, and the Two of Diamonds. Well, first of all, this Jack of Spades is talking about her being somebody that loved literature. I feel like she was just really, really smart growing up. Like, she was very studious, which once again, that Secret card came out earlier in her personality spread. The Secret came out, and so this Jack of Spades actually describes that, that Secret energy, I feel like really well. Because I actually see her writing. She was very creative as well. And then the card for the Advocate came out in her personality reading earlier as well. And so this Jack of Spades is describing her her ability to speak up for herself, her ability to even speak up for others at a very young age. However, since the Queen of Hearts did follow it, and even the Two of Diamonds, I do see that she could have possibly had a rough relationship with her mother, or maybe a motherly figure in her life. But since this Queen of Hearts came out, I'm feeling like this is actually her mother. I see that they probably did not see eye to eye a lot of the times, and even prior to her becoming a teenager, because this Jack of Spades, I mean, I feel like maybe preteen years, on upwards, maybe even through adulthood, they just had a very rocky relationship with one another. I feel like with the Queen of Hearts, her mother could have been emotionally abusive at times. Yeah, I can see her being emotionally abusive with this Queen of Hearts, and even this Two of Diamonds coming out at times. Her mother probably could have suffered from some type of depression or mental illness. I'm not sure, but if you guys know, then I mean, comment down below to see if this, if this is making sense. So the Four of Hearts, the Six of Clubs, and then the Ten of Clubs coming out is talking about her actually having a stable home life, though. Like, she had both her parents in her life. Like, she did grow up with both her parents. I'm not sure if they eventually separated or divorced or not, but she did grow up with both of them being active in her life, though. But with the Six of Clubs talking about, it wasn't always a harmonious communication. Like, it wasn't always harmonious communication between her and her parents, but I'm feeling more so maybe towards her mother. I do see that with the Six of Clubs and even this Ten of Clubs being kind of masculine cards, I feel like that she could have maybe some trust issues from her childhood as well. But I also see that that her family, maybe even her father, or maybe like some other prominent woman figure. Maybe her father had feminine energy, or like a lot of feminine energy. I do see them encouraging her a lot. Like he was very encouraging, like he planted seeds of wisdom, of love and things like that in her ear. And he told her that one day, she would make some type of difference in the world. I know that sounds really corny, but I do see him saying that, like with the Ten of Clubs coming out, like from a very young age, like they probably placed a lot of expectations on her. A lot of expectations that she knew that she could meet, but deep down inside, they could be very stressful for her as well. But from a very young age, though, like she knew that she would be somebody that was, that was recognized, that had some type of reward and recognition for whatever work that she would be doing. The Two of Hearts, the Four of Clubs, and the Ace of Hearts. I think Miss Parks got pregnant at a young age. Maybe like in her teenage years. I feel like life for her could have been very not rough, but I feel like just like emotionally draining. Like, she had financial security, as a child. Like, she had even both of her parents active in her life. However, with this Two of Hearts, this Four of Clubs, and this Ace of Hearts, I feel like she probably could have lost a baby at a very young age, maybe had some type of miscarriage, or maybe was forced to maybe abort her baby or something like that, growing up in Tuskegee. And so This is talking about with this Four of Clubs and even this with this Four of Clubs and this Ace of Hearts, is talking about like some type of break in her home. Like I feel like maybe one of her parents could have forced her to maybe get an, you know, to maybe have an abortion, which took an emotional toll on her. That's interesting. Yeah, because the Queen of Diamonds and the Ten of Spades, yeah, I see that her mother probably forced her to go ahead and get an abortion because, like, you know, like in her reading what came out earlier with the Jack of Spades, like she was somebody, and even this Ten of Clubs coming out, this is talking about her having a very promising future. Like her family knew that she would end up being somebody in some capacity because she was just very smart. I honestly see that she wanted to be a literary writer or like something having to do with literature, maybe even acting or singing. Like I see her wanting to do those to do those things. Maybe her Venus actually could have been in Taurus as well, which would explain the singing aspect, and then the Jack of Spades coming out as well, but something having to do with like the arts. But I'm getting more so like literary or like singing type arts, like writing and like singing. With the Queen of Diamonds, the Ten of Spades, and the Three of Clubs, this is talking about how she actually did end up getting an abortion at a very young young age, or miscarrying from stress at a young age. I'm feeling like maybe like teenagers, like teenage years. Excuse me for my grammar, but I feel like, yeah, like during like her teenage years, like late teens though, like maybe between, well, mid to late teens, like 15 maybe to 19, because they didn't want her to ruin, they didn't want to like maybe like ruin like any scholarship opportunities that she could have gotten, or it's just something having to do with school and something having to do with her career. Like they didn't want that to interfere with what she was building, because a baby couldn't be a part of that. A baby could have been, yeah, a baby just wasn't going to be a part of that. I actually don't see the boy coming through, or the man that she had the baby. Oh, well, King of Diamonds. Yeah, he said a baby wasn't finna interfere with Nathan, because I see that he was somebody that was actually very prominent. He could have been, he could have come from like a wealthy family. This boy, I feel like, yeah, he could have come from like a wealthy family. And so it was really his family actually that put a lot of that pressure on the situation, saying that like she not finna take all our money, or you know, or like you have like this, you know, this very promising future and things like that ahead of you. And so it would just only interfere with their money. It would interfere with their reputation. It could have been a prominent boy in their hometown of Tuskegee, Alabama. I mean, honestly, well, that was the question that I asked. So yeah, it could have been somebody that was prominent, you know, in Tuskegee, Alabama, this relationship or whatever. And then it could have been a miscarriage, but I'm not getting miscarriage vibes though from this reading though. But of course, if you want to know any information, then comment down below and let me know, or let us know at the Voodoo Institute. So I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next question.
So fuel my fire, take me higher, I'll be your liar too. Cause when we're here, there's nothing better than the skyline view.